Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how are you this week?
Well, aloha, Jeff. I am great, and how about you?
Oh, aloha. That's a wonderful way to begin. I'm doing great, and I'm excited tonight because this is one of those things, and we've said this a couple of times lately, but it feels like we've been waiting a pretty long time to discuss this one. We've seen these things rise from the ground for a long time now, and tonight we're going to talk about the Polynesian Island Tower.
Yes, this has been, as you said, it feels like a forever in the making, a controversial new hotel.
Yes.
I'm sure I'm not supposed to say that.
No, of course not. I'll say it. A controversial new hotel. How's that? Is that better?
That's better.
Yeah.
And the reason it made us say goodbye to Luau Point, which was the area when you were going from the Polynesian to the Luau dinner. Luau Point was the home to hundreds of thousands of weddings, if I had to take a guess. That big tree that everybody got married under, that little private beach area. And then, of course, for those that were Luau fans, it is no more. It is now the Island Tower sitting between the Polynesian as we know it. And I won't even say the Grand Floridian. It's actually between the Polynesian and the Wedding Pavilion.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not even really fair to say that it's next to the Grand. It's really nestled there right before you hit the Wedding Pavilion.
It is. So you can have a beautiful view, if you're at the far end of the property, of the brides coming and maybe even a peek at Cinderella's carriage.
That's nice and fun. But so it is recently opened.
December 17th, we would have brought the news to you sooner, but it opened 2 days after my preview cruise of the Treasure. And obviously we had so many awesome things to share with you about the Treasure, and that took precedence over this.
Just a horrible turn of events that you had to go right from experiencing the Treasure right to see what these new rooms and this new part of the resort is at the Polynesian. Just tough life for Sandy. Tough life.
You know, I am grounded back in New Jersey at the moment in our extreme cold snap. And while it is not warm in Walt Disney World at the moment, again, if you're not listening to this show in real time, this was recorded the first week of January 2025. Orlando is having a cold snap right now as well. They are lows of 40 and highs of 60 to 65, depending on the day. So those of you that always ask about the weather, it's hit or miss. I'll be going back to Orlando next week to bring you the Festival of the Arts. It looks like I'm still going to freeze down there, which is unusual. It's usually great weather when I go for that festival. So
we'll see. We'll see how
it out of the cold. I think instead of aloha to the Polynesian, I might need to be saying aloha to Ulani to get out of this cold.
Well, that's a different show altogether. Well, we'll have to revisit that. It's been a while since we talked to Ulani. Maybe that'll hit us in 2025. But talk to us a little bit about how this part of the property came to be. Like what are we experiencing here? Who was it designed for? Before we kind of break into some of the nitty and gritty.
You bet. As we've seen with the majority of the resorts that opened in the last several years, this is a DVC, a Disney Vacation Club property.
It is a Disney Vacation Club property. Anytime we talk about Disney Vacation Club, we talk about our friends over at DVC News. And for more than a decade, DVC News has provided the latest news and information regarding the Disney Vacation Club timeshare program and its member resorts. Visit them at dvcnews.com, where you can sign up for their email newsletter, or look for them at facebook.com/DVC News or twitter.com/DVC News. DVC News, obviously a nice partner of ours. They have all the latest information, and the Polynesian Island Tower, certainly no exception.
And some of you may be saying, why are we talking about a timeshare resort? And while these DVC resorts are definitely Disney timeshares, the nice thing is anybody can book a reservation through there, through any travel agent, through the regular Walt Disney World website. There are rooms available in all of the DVC resorts for guests paying just regular cash reservations. They even sometimes are included in the various 25% off or stay and play or free dining. So don't tune out thinking I don't want to buy a timeshare. This isn't for me, because this is really for everybody.
Yes, Sandy's not selling you a timeshare tonight, folks. That's not tonight's program. But let's talk about something that I was very concerned with when I was watching it be built. Because as we were walking around property, we actually saw this for the first time. We were staying at the Grand as a family. And it looked like as they were rising some stuff, there were some beams there. Talk to me about the transportation at this particular tower, because it was a little confusing as it was going up. Now that you've seen it complete, give us a breakdown of how we get to and from this type of tower.
It's interesting because it was one of my concerns that it was going to be too far for things. We knew that they were going to build their own private entrance to the resort. And it's actually the drive into the parking lot is on the same street as the Grand Floridian, not on the same street as the Polynesian.
Okay.
If those of you who drive on property, you can picture it. Polynesian does sit right on a corner.
Right.
So with the entrance being on the Grand side, my concern was, what are they doing here? Are they getting a monorail stop?
Because it looked for a while like they might be.
They are not. It is a big no on, are they getting a monorail stop? They are also not getting their own bus stops. And when they were building it, because again, even just pulling up to the Polynesian, up into that valet line, you could see it. And I will honestly say to you, I thought of it as off in the distance. And to me, off in the distance says tired girl doesn't want to walk at the end of a park day.
Yeah.
So I was concerned about it because they are not getting their own buses either. You will get onto the monorail at the Great Ceremonial House in the main Polynesian lobby, and you will get onto the buses just outside the Great Ceremonial House.
Got it.
And I'm a slow walker. I've had a knee surgery and different things, and I made the walk in 6 minutes. So where I thought it was going to be this really far thing, 6 minutes is a pretty average walk to a bus stop from any of our resorts. So don't let it fool you. It's adjacent, but it is easily accessible. One thing that I always notice is people who are those Disney Vacation Club members tend to be a higher population of people that bring cars on property. And it definitely has a very small parking lot. They can only accommodate one car for about 50% of the rooms, according to the manager I spoke to.
Oh, wow.
So they do plan that overflow parking will occur in the main Polynesian parking lot. And there's plenty of space there to be able to do that as well.
Okay, so you won't necessarily be without a spot. It just might not be near the tower is what you're saying.
Correct. And again, near is going to be one of those relative terms that, it's like I always say, and Jeff, you're probably the better example of the person that I'm making fun of at the moment. The runners in the crowd who go to Disney and then still feel compelled to get on a treadmill don't feel that any of these things are far, because you're doing a park day and then you're, hopping on the treadmill for a 10-mile run. Your car is not going to be far away, even if you do it. And if you think it's too far for your party, one of you go pick it up and drive around the corner and then grab everybody else by that lobby door.
Well, I'm going to respond to that. It's not far necessarily for me, but when you've got two children with small legs, at the end of that night, it is something to consider. So I'm glad you brought it up. One thing I do want to mention, because you mentioned that the luau had disappeared. People did spend some time there. They did dine there. The Polynesian, just in general, always has a tremendous amount of interest in the dining options that are there. What have they entered into this equation with this tower in terms of dining?
So the option they have now is the Waialulu Bar and Grill. It is going to be a little bit more limited, and it's very unique in style, which I'll talk about in a second. But remember that as a Disney Vacation Club resort, again, they're like your own little condo. Everybody has at least a wet bar. The majority of the rooms have a microwave, a dishwasher. At least half of them have full stoves and toasters and all kinds of things. So they don't need a lot of dining because many people have their own options in their room.
Okay.
This restaurant is kind of a really unique mix of everything that we've seen before. So right now, they've got a very light breakfast menu, and calling it a breakfast menu may be a little bit of a stretch. It's really a grab and go counter.
Okay.
Croissants, cinnamon buns, banana muffins, yogurt parfaits, and some juices. Grab it, take it, and sit outside, back to your room, whatever you want. Lunch and dinner, they are a sit down restaurant, but they're also a to go restaurant. So, again, if you're looking at these bigger rooms that have dining room tables that seat 8 or 9 people, maybe you want to order dinner and take it back to your room where maybe one of your kids is napping or whatever. You want to be able to be there and watch the fireworks from your patio. So you can get takeout. I don't think it's set up as well as it could be for that, because if you're doing takeout and you're doing it with non-bottled beverages,
Right.
the beverage station, or as it's usually called, the refill station, you either have to walk across the entire restaurant out the backside door and a little bit down the walkway, or go outside and walk all the way around the bar and restaurant to get to the beverage refill station over by the gym. And then you've got to walk all the way back.
Yeah. So that's not as convenient as it could be.
Not as convenient as it could be. But they are Polynesian. So you're going to find ahi tuna, pork ribs, a crispy chicken wing in a marinated soy sauce glaze. It's a little bit harder, I think, for your kids who are very meat and potatoes. They do have, of course, mac and cheese, because life wouldn't survive without it. But for instance, they don't have chicken fingers. They have a grilled teriyaki chicken on a skewer as the kids' chicken.
Right.
So take a look at the menu. But the good thing is, 5-minute walk, you're over at Captain Cook's or Kona Cafe or even Ohana. So lots of options if you need it, but it's certainly not a restaurant that I'd be going out of my way to go visit and try out the food.
Okay. So one of the things we always like to talk about too are the pools and the recreation stuff. I've seen some awesome pictures of the stuff that's going on in this pool. So break it down for folks that are completely unaware, because it's some really cool visuals.
I'm going to start with the kids' pool because it's the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, you should.
And it's not a pool. It's a water splash area. And go for the visual here. It is Moana standing tall on her boat with the sail behind her. Little splash pad. It lights up at night. You can climb up on Moana. At the moment, there is no sign that says no climbing, so you can feel like you're sitting on the boat with her. It was very active while I was there. Just such a fun piece to look at. The pool area is a 0 entry, so walk right in if you choose. And they were very proud to tell me that they are the first resort on property to have a pool deck within the pool. So there is a long section of pool deck where you can sit instead of, having to sit on the ledge, where you can be in about 4 inches of water. So I don't suggest that you sit there and let little ones play who can't swim without having
No.
a life vest on.
Sure.
But if you want to be in the water versus sitting in a chair while they're at Moana, it's a great option.
Cool. All right. What about some of the surrounding stuff? Like, where's there to sit? I know that's always something that my wife and I are looking at. Like, what are there things that are hanging out by the pool area?
So around the pool itself, there seem to be plenty of lounge chairs, sit-up chairs. There's even some tables and chairs. I brought my dinner out there one night. They've got umbrellas on a lot of those. Towards the front of the pool area, they've got a nice fake grass area with some hammocks on it, a great spot
Oh, cool.
to watch the water pageant or fireworks from. And really, that area is gated. So this pool does require a Magic Band or key card from any Polynesian building guest to get in. People can't just come over from the Magic Kingdom and decide they want to use the pool. But anybody can walk along the resort. And from the edge of the resort and that restaurant area to the water, is a pretty narrow area, but it's got a great little walking path. There's a very small part right up against the water. There is a mesh fence there, but there are chairs there. And then the back of the resort, you can literally walk through the front door and straight out the back door, is a big open deck with lots of seating. So, again, another spot to watch the water pageant, watch the fireworks. I think they really worked hard on this resort of where can I be if I want to be at the resort, but I don't want to hang out in my room. And they did a great job with it.
Well, in areas you know would want to hang out, like that's viewing areas are definitely always key, right? I mean, especially along the water there.
You bet.
Okay, so talk to me about any kind of unique features that this particular tower may have, or maybe anything that you're seeing that maybe it wants for that type of thing. What did you notice?
So they have these two areas that I spent quite a bit of time in. They were really neat, and I definitely encourage you to go and go daytime and go nighttime because they're very different. I went to the bamboo forest terrace. I'm sure you're wondering what might be the decor in the bamboo forest terrace.
Yes, I'm sure it's all oak.
It's all oak. There
Yeah.
you go. Just a really peaceful spot, outdoors but covered because it's in the middle of several floors. So that deck idea, you can see out to the water, you can watch the boats go by. It was not the greatest spot to view fireworks or the water pageant. If you're okay with about a 25% view, go for it. But if you want the full on view, head out the back of the resort.
Okay.
The other one is the Lagoon Reef Terrace, and it's decorated with, big coral sculptures and things to give you that Hawaiian water vibe.
Well, that's kind of cool.
It really is. And they worked hard on the resort to make things authentic, to bring in Polynesian artwork. The lobby here is spectacular and one of the most unique ones that we've seen on property. Again, over the years, we've seen that they realize that there are going to be people, often midday, that 11 to 3 time frame. Maybe you've checked out of your room because it's time to go home, sadly, or you've arrived and your room isn't ready and it's not a park day for you and your room's going to be ready soon or your car service is picking you up soon. And people were overrunning the lobbies, quite frankly.
Huh.
And ever since Grand Destino Tower, they've worked hard to make the lobbies a bigger area for gathering, a peaceful area, an area if you need to work, you can work, and an area where you can recharge your devices. And so they hit that here, all in the Polynesian theme. The fans overhead, the artwork, they've got these unique, I've called them upside down tree sculptures hanging. It's a 2-story lobby. So you've got that space and that air, not the same kind of design as Ulani, but that same open feel. And again, Polynesian being water, looking right out from, the minute you walk in the door, you can see all the way out. I'm not going to claim that the water in the lake is what we might find
in
in the
Hawaii,
same color choice
not
in
so much.
Hawaii or the Polynesian Islands, but we'll give it a try. So plenty of space to hang out here. I will say it is one of the other kind of unique things that they haven't tried anywhere else on property. So this is definitely an experiment. We'll know if it works because they'll keep it or they won't. There are no check-in desks in this lobby,
Huh.
though the intent is that if you're staying there, you're going to check in that building. So during the day, starting at about 7 a.m. till late into the evening, there are multiple cast members that will greet you as you enter, and they all have an iPad that they wear kind of on like a crossbody string, and they can check you in and get you all set right from their iPad. They can
Interesting.
do it, there's again lots of seating. So that idea of creating family and familiarity, not the I work here, you guest in the
Right,
middle to
right, right,
block
right.
you. Um, So that's a little unique. We've seen them open up the desks so that, they're not this big, long bank, but we've never seen no desk. So
Interesting.
that's
All right.
definitely interesting. But it also means if you are in need of something at, 11 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, you will need to go over to the main Great Ceremonial House in the Polynesian. Again, about a 5-minute walk. Very well lit pathway if you're worried about doing it at night. And even a pretty view. You're going to walk along the pool and then along the waterway where they have the boats parked. So it's a pretty walk as well.
So, for those of you that have caught all of our shows, you know that we typically lead these shows off talking about the rooms. We kind of inverted that tonight because the rooms are pretty consistent as far as, when you get specific styles of rooms, there's not so much to necessarily talk about. But before we say goodbye tonight, I wanted to give you an opportunity to give us a quick breakdown of the rooms, maybe some things that were unique in the rooms, and then give us just like the rundown of how many of each style there are.
You bet. And a lot of the time, especially probably in the last 5 years that we started with the rooms and talked about them so much, is they had switched over to these heavily themed character style rooms.
Correct.
And we were talking about all the hidden spots that you could see everything. And there are definitely some small references to Moana that you can see. But overall, these are Polynesian styled. There are 3 views on each type of room. So there's resort view, which I translate for Disney, often means parking lot. The bonus, don't look down, look up. If you look up, it means monorail.
Right, yeah.
Just don't look at the parking lot.
You are a Disney master. Just putting that out there. But go ahead. We got 2 other categories.
There's a preferred view, and this is a unique one. We don't have this kind of preferred view anywhere. It's the theme pool that we just discussed, so you might have Moana out your window.
Right.
Or right across the street is a golf course, so you could have a golf course view.
Okay.
And the last one is a theme park view. So 3 choices on all the rooms.
All right.
Except one category. And I'm going to do that one last because we have a brand new category here.
Nice. Okay, so go ahead.
268 rooms, duos, deluxe studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and I'm going to hold off on that last category.
Okay.
So no grand villas.
Okay.
The maximum sleeping here is going to be 9. And remember, a studio connects to a 1 bedroom. If you want both parts, that makes a 2 bedroom.
Right.
So the duos, we first saw at Riviera, and then we saw them out at the new Disneyland Hotel Villas. Duos sleep 2 and a child under 3, and there is 0 exception to that rule. Duos are always now done with the Murphy bed couch combo. So not the pull-out table like we see in many of the resorts. You can sit on the couch, or when it's bedtime, pull out the Murphy bed.
Got it.
They did a much nicer job with these than over at Riviera. While I love the ones at Riviera, if you go back to that episode, you'll hear me tell you that 50% of the square footage at Riviera is in the bathroom. Didn't understand that one. But here the bathroom is a normal bathroom size. And so the square footage that makes the duo is in your room. If you're 2 adults or adult and a child and you're comfortable sharing the bed with your child, these are a great economical option for you. And for 2 people, you've got plenty of space and you're right there on the monorail line.
Okay.
We go to studios. And this is a really important thing to note. These studios were designed to sleep 4. Many of the newer studios sleep 5. These sleep 4. But I'm going to give you the bonus to these studios. Usually studios have what we call a wet bar. So you've got a refrigerator, a kitchen kind of sink, and a microwave, which is all true here. But you also have a dishwasher. So you can definitely do more things because you're not stuck off of paper plates all the time. So if you do want to eat some meals in your studio, it is much easier to cook there.
Okay.
Those are going to be a queen bed and that queen Murphy bed.
Right.
And again, if you're two people and you're just in a studio and you're in a studio with just two of you, open up the Murphy bed one day. Anyhow, there's different art inside there. So cute. You have to peek.
Nice. Okay. Next category.
One bedroom. So you've got the bedroom and then the living room. These are going to sleep 5. You've got a full kitchen here. So oven, stove, full size refrigerator, and the dishwasher, and an actual table that you can all sit at.
Okay. Very cool. I love the one bedroom. That's my favorite accommodation.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I love the 2 bedrooms here.
All right. Why?
The 2 bedroom villas are unique in that they have 3 full baths. So we saw that at Bay Lake Tower, but we really don't see that anywhere else. So you've got a full bath in the living room. So if you're using that Sleeps 9, where you've got 2 people in the master, 4 people in the second bedroom, and 3 people in the living room, those 3 people in the living room have their own full bath and their own way to get ready.
Yeah, that's nice.
Very spacious, lots of storage. The master bath in the 2 bedroom villa, I'm moving in or I need one in my house. It is just gorgeous. Designed a little different than you see. You actually enter the bath in the middle. So you can go to your left and there's a sink against the wall and a stall shower in front of you there. Or go to the right, there's a second sink and a room with a toilet. And then in front of you is just a to die for soaking tub.
All right, so you teased it. We saved this new thing for last. So before we say goodnight, there is a new type of accommodation that you wanted to mention. Throw it at us.
A 2 bedroom penthouse villa. Now, important to know, the 2 bedroom penthouse only sleeps 8, where the 2 bedroom villa sleeps 9. And as penthouse implies, it is at the top, baby.
Nice.
You have got the best theme park views, which means amazing fireworks views.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
So, yes, there are theme park views, but then there are penthouse views.
Very cool. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time to go down and see this new tower. It's like we said, it's been rising from the ground for what feels like ages. Excited to go back and see it the next time I'm on property. Anything you want to say to close with, or are we ready to say goodbye?
I think we're ready to say goodnight. Like we always say, there is something for everybody at Walt Disney World. This may or may not be the perfect fit for you, but my team and I would love to talk to you about it.
Have a great week.
You as well.
And that's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Dis. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share, have them like, and subscribe. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Dis by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination planning. Make it a great week. And as always, keep making memories.